When the video begins, a thick chorus of chanting rolls through downtown as dusk paints the city in hot amber. Electricity hangs in the air. Thousands march shoulder to shoulder, homemade posters bobbing like sails that read, "We belong. Dignity now. No silence." Among them moves Isaiah Brooks, 26 youth counselor by day and spoken word poet by night, dreadlocks tucked beneath a weather-beaten cap. He isn't shouting slogans, he is listening, his pulse sinking to the drum of countless feet. 6. Blocks from City Hall, the column slows. Organizers raise their arms and everyone kneels, honoring lives lost to violence. Phones lift like fireflies. A police cruiser edges forward, loudspeaker crackling an order to clear the intersection. Some rise and step back, others remain locked arm in arm. Isaiah notices a girl no older than 15 pressed against a stair rail, eyes wide with panic. He steps between her and the cruiser, palms open in calm defense. An officer misreads the gesture and lunges. Plastic zip ties bite Isaiah's wrists. Cheers twist into gasps. Gasps turn to shouts. Cameras record the moment from every angle. Red lights multiplying evidence faster than anyone can count. Within minutes, the footage detonates online. Stand With Isaiah climbs the trending ladder before the squad van even leaves the curb. While sirens fracture the night sky, Isaiah rides in silence beside strangers whose names he will learn before sunrise. Someone murmurs, Psalm 142. Another keeps a live stream going until the signal dies. Isaiah closes his eyes and repeats a line from his last performance. Chains can't mute the frequency of truth. The words steady his pulse. Across town, Mayor Eleanor Grant, former public defender, mother of twins, paces her narrow office. Instead of sleeping, she reads arrest reports line by line. Staffers debate press strategies, issue a sterile statement, blame outside agitators, promise a review. The mayor rewinds the body camera footage, freezing on Isaiah's open hands. Was de-escalation protocol followed? She asks the police chief. The question hovers heavier than the rain that soon pounds the windows. In the holding cell, Isaiah sits on a metal bench, fluorescent lights humming overhead. Beside him, an older man in a denim jacket recounts his first arrest during the sanitation strikes of '78. A tech worker with a conference badge still clipped to his shirt stares at a cracked phone, the frozen arrest thumbnail glowing in the dark. Through the bars, a guard slides forms, eyes averted. Isaiah signs, thinking only of the teenager now safely home. Rain sweeps protest signs along gutters in Technicolor ribbons. Reporters huddle under awnings, rewinding the arrest on loop and asking the empty street, why him? Online arguments rage through the night, refusing sleep. On a private Discord server, college students organize jail support. Venmo notifications ping. Free Our Poet stickers churn out of a tired laser printer. At sunrise, they will plaster every light pole on Main. Morning light slides over courthouse stone. In her chambers, the mayor watches a short clip from the community center. Isaiah kneeling among middle schoolers, chalk on his palms, writing "Empathy is action" on a blackboard. A boy asks if marching matters. Isaiah answers, "Every step reminds leaders we're still here. Even if they pretend not to hear us, the pavement remembers our footprints." The mayor presses play again, lips tight in thought. By 8 a.m., reporters cluster outside City Hall. They expect a cautious briefing. Instead, Mayor Grant steps to the podium alone, holding a single sheet of paper. "Last night, our city witnessed an arrest that should never have happened," she begins. Gasps ripple through the press corps. She dismisses charges, orders an internal review, and commits to community-led oversight. Her speech streams live, view counts spin like slot machines. Inside the jail, Isaiah hears cheers ripple down the corridor as officers unlock cells. A volunteer. Lawyer tells him the charges are gone, the mayor herself demanding release. Paper cuffs snipped. Isaiah flexes his wrists and walks into mid-morning light, met by an eruption of applause. Someone hands him water. Another offers a megaphone. He raises a hand for quiet. Before speaking, he looks up at the pale sky and inhales. He thanks the crowd for their courage, asks them to redirect energy into youth programs, and reminds them an apology is only a first step toward healing. Phones rise again, broadcasting his steady voice to millions. Hashtags multiply, and footprints for change. Mayor listened, Isaiah speaks, and cable networks scramble to contextualize the moment. Critics call the mayor reckless, supporters hail her courage. Isaiah only repeats the invitation. Meet tomorrow, same corner, to plan the work ahead. Across social media, the city's map lights up. Cafes promise free coffee to courthouse supporters. School gyms open as assembly spaces. Musicians schedule a street corner marathon to fund legal aid. A librarian tapes James Baldwin's warning, "Nothing can be changed until it is faced," to the branch door. The photo goes viral. Isolated gestures fuse into one civic heartbeat. Inside a precinct conference room, senior officers replay the cruiser footage at half speed, annotating every choice. Recruits sit rigid, knowing the clip will become required academy viewing. Someone suggests rewriting crowd control rules in words citizens understand, scribbling transparency across the whiteboard. By midday, reporters from 3 continents chase the headline, "The Mayor Who Chose to Listen." Editorial cartoons turn Isaiah's raised palms into a skyline silhouette. Back on the community center steps, Isaiah tells the kids class is on. Today's lesson is how one voice can rally a city. Where were you when the spark caught? Right now, you decide whether the fire grows or flickers out. Share this story with someone who doubts leaders can listen. Smash subscribe so you're here the moment Chapter 2 lands, and tap like to flood timelines with proof that hope travels fast. Drop the word footprints in the comments and watch solidarity fill the page. Momentum is alive, feed it. The mayor's declaration ricochets far beyond city limits. Morning talk shows splice her words between fiery pundit panels, arguing whether courage or chaos just stepped onto the podium. By lunchtime, every major newspaper runs a banner headline about an arrest undone by a single sentence. Our duty is not to punish dissent, but to protect it. Millions read the quote on coffee breaks in city buses, posting screenshots with exclamation points or eye-roll emojis, depending on which echo chamber they call home. Television satellites pivot toward the small brick city hall that suddenly feels like the hinge of the nation. While cameras hunt reactions downtown, Isaiah returns to Oak Street Community Center. The place where neighborhood kids drew protest. Signs now hums like a war room. Tables disappear under mountains of donated snacks, portable chargers, and manila folders labeled legal support, mental health resources, and new voter registrations. A grandmother who lost her voice at last night's march hands Isaiah a thermos of ginger tea, whispering that his calm kept her from panicking when sirens swarmed the intersection. He thanks her with a quiet smile, wondering how many more stories like hers will surface if he just keeps listening. Notifications light up his cracked phone faster than he can swipe. National civil rights groups want statements. Late-night hosts request interviews. A Chicago publisher asks for a poetry manuscript by Friday. Isaiah answers none of them. Instead, he calls his mother, who slept with the TV on in case breaking. Dews mentioned her child. They speak only 3 sentences each. It is enough. Across town, the police union drafts a press release accusing Mayor Grant of undermining department morale. The language is colder than blue steel. We acted within protocol. Political theater endangers officers and civilians alike. When the statement drops online, defenders of the mayor flood comment sections with evidence clips slowed to half speed, marking the moment Isaiah's open palms never threaten. Arguments spread like smoke through every thread. City Council schedules an emergency session for 6 p.m. to debate a new oversight proposal. Rumor says the mayor will introduce a civilian review board with subpoena power, something activists begged for since the first footage leak weeks ago. Council members receive calls from donors urging caution, from pastors urging courage, from lobbyists urging nothing at all, just reminding them who covered last election's mailers. Outside, posters of Isaiah's silhouette, palms up, head high, blanket utility poles. Someone with a laser cutter turns the outline into a stencil. By mid-afternoon, sidewalks carry the same image in pastel chalk like miles of breadcrumbs guiding people toward City Hall. Kids leaving school pause to trace the design with sneaker tips. A second hashtag swells. Palms Up Promise. Its message is simple. Keep every protest peaceful. Keep every camera rolling. Keep every story human. Local radio airs a 2-hour call-in show, inviting residents to describe what justice sounds like. One caller says it's the hush that replaces sirens when policy changes. Another says it's her daughter laughing on the walk to school because she no longer feels watched. The host asks listeners to text a single word that captures their feeling, right now. 20,000 replies pour in, a digital chant no tear gas can mute. At 4, Isaiah stands on the community center steps as organizers brief volunteers heading to council chambers. He speaks without microphone or megaphone, trusting the hush that falls whenever he inhales. Tonight is not about me, he begins. It's about how quickly error admits itself, how accountable power becomes when we refuse to fade into fear. If you march, march soft enough to hear each other breathe. If you speak, speak low enough to invite dialogue. And if you film, keep filming. Truth likes a witness. Phones tilt in unison, but he finishes before the first live stream notification bubbles across screens. Journalists swarm the courthouse lawn, their tripods fighting for the perfect backdrop. Pastel palms chalked on concrete, and a bronze statue of a 19th century governor glowering over them. A producer from a national network corners Isaiah for a quote, promising 3 minutes of prime time. He answers with a line of poetry instead. Silence is a ceiling we punch until daylight leaks through. The producer gapes. Pure clickbait. Gold. But Isaiah slips away before she can ask for spelling. Inside City Hall's wood-paneled chamber, folding chairs fill every aisle, overflow rooms beam the meeting onto projector screens, and a queue snakes outside. Fire marshal limits threaten to halt entry, but staffers open side doors and usher latecomers into hallways, calculating square footage in real time. The air smells of hairspray, printer toner, and the distinct metallic tang of shared nerves. Council. President gavels in. The mayor speaks first, her voice steady yet edged with something raw enough to be called conviction. She recounts last night's timeline minute by minute, shows the body cam freeze frame of Isaiah's open hands on a towering screen, and asks the chief to verify procedure. Silence thickens. The chief says policies will evolve. A ripple of surprise moves through observers. No denial, no deflection. Then the mayor unveils her proposal, an independent board elected by neighborhoods, full access to complaint records, authority to recommend termination, quarterly public forums. Murmurs swell into applause before she finishes. Opponents rise. A counselor funded by the police union predicts officer resignations en masse. Another warns of budget nightmares, lawsuits, insurance spikes, yet a different voice, a conservative, banker, surprises the room by endorsing the measure as market protection. Investors flee cities that ignore unrest. The chamber erupts in an impromptu economics lesson on the price of broken trust. Everyone feels the pivot coming. Cameras stream every eyebrow twitch. Viewers at home type real-time reactions that crawl across screens in neon overlays. Some shout at televisions, others sit weeping. The algorithm cannot decide whether to categorize the content as news, politics, or live reality drama, so it pushes notifications to every corner at once. Back in the hallway, Isaiah waits beside a vending machine, sipping water from a paper cup. A rookie officer posted nearby clears his throat and thanks him for calming the crowd the night before. Isaiah thanks him back for keeping hand on holster instead of pepper spray trigger. They exchange names. For a beat, the building forgets its history, and two strangers occupy common ground. The council vote is scheduled for 10 p.m. Hope feels both unstoppable and fragile, like a candle exposed to wind yet growing taller each time it flickers. Social media insomniacs set alarms so they don't miss the count. Neighborhood bars advertise vote watch parties with half-price fries and free refills for anyone wearing a palms-up shirt. College dorms hang sheets as projection screens, promising popcorn and politics until dawn. Just after 9, thunder rumbles, a warning stubbed from the sky. Rain starts again, soft at first, then relentless, drumming riot shields stacked behind. A cordon no one plans to use. People outside unfold tarps over speakers and chant louder to compete with the downpour. Every drop seems to raise their tempo. Someone begins Isaiah's favorite line, "Chains can't mute the frequency of truth." And soon the entire plaza sings it on loop, a heartbeat disguised as melody. Inside the chamber, roll call voting begins. Each aye or nay slams like a drumbeat. The tally creeps forward. 5 in favor, 4 against, 2 abstentions. A hush swallows the room before the final member speaks. Livestream comments explode with random letter spam, praying hands, skull emojis, national flags. The screen freezes on buffering. Suddenly the feed dies across multiple platforms. Smartphones show spinning wheels. Tablets freeze. Rumor ignites that someone cut the municipal internet line. Hallways buzz like a wasp nest poked with a stick. The counselor about to cast the deciding vote stands mid-sentence, unsure whether archival cameras still roll, or if the moment just vanished into digital fog. Anxiety squeezes air from every lung. At the back of the chamber, a teenager, yes, the same girl Isaiah shielded, paces with her phone raised high. She switches to cellular data, starts a fresh stream, and counts down. You're live again in 3, 2, 1. Viewers pop back like sparks, 70,000 in the first 10 seconds. The counselor clears his throat, glances at the revived camera lens, and utters a single syllable that could swing the city toward reform or recoil. The chapter pauses here, right on the cusp of that word. The vote hangs like a held breath, the rain drums on glass, and every watcher leans closer. If you need that verdict, make sure the algorithm knows it. Smash like right now, so this story reaches every feed starving for accountability. Tap subscribe, so you're present the instant Chapter 3 drops, and comment "Live Again" to salute the citizen journalists who refuse blackouts. Share the stream link with 2 friends who think one voice can't matter. Remind them it already does. Momentum has a seat in the chamber. Let's keep it voting aye. The deciding counselor inhales, rain rattling the stained glass skylight above, and says a single word that slices the tension clean through. Aye. Applause erupts, first hesitant, then tidal. Gavel strikes cannot muffle it. Cameras pan, across faces, some stunned, others radiant, while outside the plaza catches the roar and flings it into the storm-lit night. Message flashes across every live stream chat. Oversight past 6-5. Within seconds, hashtags mutate. Palms up promise becomes "Huck board birthed." Vote for light. Eyes on the badge. Watch parties in corner bars cheer until glasses clink like wind chimes. Dorm projectors blink confetti gifs over brick walls. In thousands of living rooms, viewers discover they are standing, fists aloft, shouting at screens like long-lost teammates who just scored in overtime. Isaiah exhales beside the vending machine. The rookie officer he befriended grins and sticks out a rain-spattered hand. They shake, palms slick but steady. 2 photographers capture the moment. By morning, that handshake will headline news feeds, captioned, "Bridging the Barricade." Back inside the chamber, council members sign the resolution while maintenance staff mop puddles where soaked umbrellas drip testimonies onto tile. Reporters swarm Mayor Grant, asking what comes next. She answers in 3 parts. Transparency, audits within 30 days, civilian board seated in 90, and citywide listening sessions that start tomorrow. Accountability isn't a switch, she says. It's a staircase. Climb with us. The quote rockets across social media, meme ready before midnight. 12 hours later, Friday morning, Dawn limps in, bruised and violet. Sleep is scarce. Momentum is caffeinated. Isaiah's phone blinks 127 unanswered texts. He chooses one from a middle schooler. "We watched the vote in class. Can you visit today and tell us how laws change?" He types back yes, punctuated by a comet emoji, and laces up rain-damp sneakers. The community center now resembles a startup. Whiteboards crammed with deadlines, volunteers hunched over laptops drafting grant proposals, teenagers running extension, cords for donated printers. A local baker delivers trays of cinnamon rolls, writes "Fuel for Truth" in frosting. Isaiah tears one in half, laughing at the absurdity of sugar-funded revolution. News breaks at 9 a.m. The state attorney general will challenge the new board's authority in court, branding it unconstitutional overreach. Stock footage of Stern. Capital columns loops behind anchors' furrowed brows. On another channel, the police union announces a blue flu, officers calling in sick to protest the vote. Screen caps of dispatch maps dotted with out-of-service districts circulate like doom forecasts. Commentators predict chaos by sundown, yet city streets stay oddly calm. Community organizers deploy safety walks. Volunteers in reflective vests, equipped with first aid kits and two-way radios, patrolling neighborhoods to deter trouble and offer help. Retired firefighters teach them triage. Faith leaders hand out thermoses of soup. Local businesses print "Welcome Safety Walks" signs for windows. Mid-afternoon, the counter-narrative cable pundits search for mayhem and find none, so they pivot to blame. One segment flashes Isaiah's booking photo beside the mayor's campaign headshot under the chyron "Radical Alliance." Viewers text in fury. Advertisers fidget. A national newspaper publishes an op-ed claiming oversight. "Will turn lawful policing into courtroom theater." Shares skyrocket among echo chambers hungry for friction. Isaiah declines interview offers, choosing instead to livestream a walking tour of safety walk checkpoints. He speaks plainly, thanking volunteers by name, panning his camera across block. Parties where kids chalk hopscotch under watchful grandmothers. Viewers peek at a city refusing to crack. Donations to neighborhood funds triple in 2 hours. The hashtag #walking wins trends worldwide. Evening. Backlash arrives at 7 p.m. A convoy of out-of-state agitators rolls in. Social accounts later reveal affiliations with a fringe network specializing in staged clashes. They fan across downtown, wielding provocations. Bullhorn lies. Counterfeit protest signs quoting Isaiah out of context. Even paid actors posing as disappointed residents. It's theater masquerading as unrest, but safety walk teams are ready. They film every encounter, upload raw footage in real time, and flood feeds before misinformation can seed. A street violinist plays over the agitators' shouts, disarming tension with aching melody. Families gather, humming along. Frustrated, the provocateurs shove past cameras and vanish down alleys, leaving only echoes. Local news airs split screens, pundits predicting riots beside live drone shots of children dancing to violin. Ratings spike. Narrative control slips from professional fearmongers to ordinary citizens with smartphones and resolve. Night, the mayor's risk inside. City Hall's marble rotunda, Mayor Grant convenes a televised town hall. No podium, just a circle of mismatched chairs. She sits among nurses, small business owners, wheelchair athletes, the rookie officer, and the teenager Isaiah protected. They discuss lived experiences with policing, while moderators field live questions from the public. View counts break regional records. Trolls spam the chat, but moderators mute them swiftly, pinning constructive comments that steer conversation away from flame wars. Halfway through, the power cuts. Screens go black. Gasps ripple in living rooms across the nation. Backup generators groan to life, flooding the hall in dim amber. The broadcast returns minus fancy lower thirds or color correction, only. Raw microphone feed and shaky camera rigs. It feels painfully vulnerable, impossibly authentic. The mayor leans into the darkness and says, "Systems fail. People restart them." Applause flares like candlelight. Underground wires. A sabotage revealed engineers traced the blackout to vandalized fiber lines beneath 4th Avenue, same block where agitators vanished earlier. Police review traffic cams, identify a rented van, and release images to the public. Internet sleuths crowdsource plate numbers, linking the vehicle to a shell corporation 3 states away. Within hours, investigative journalists confirm the sabotage was funded by a lobbying group opposed to civilian oversight nationwide. Screenshots of bank transfers ignite fury. Hashtags evolve again. Cut the Cables becomes a rally cry to expose dark money influence. Petition sites crash under the weight of new signatures demanding federal inquiry. Late-night comedians weaponize humor, roasting corporate puppeteers until audiences roar. Momentum surges, unpredictable and electric. Midnight, an unexpected ally. Just past midnight, the police chief live streams from headquarters. He appears, alone, badge gleaming under fluorescent glare, eyes ringed with fatigue. He acknowledges the blue flu, condemns sabotage, and pledges to work with the new board once the courts finish grandstanding. "Public trust is my badge's armor," he says, echoing Isaiah's cadence. Comments scroll so fast moderation is impossible. Hearts and thumbs rise like digital confetti. Isaiah watches the stream on a folding chair in the community center. Kitchen, cinnamon roll crumbs on his lap. For the first time since his arrest, he laughs. Not a weary chuckle, but a full-bodied release that startles volunteers into cheering. He types one sentence into the chat. "Accountability just got back up." Viewers screenshot it instantly. Dawn of day 3, hope with spine. By sunrise, the city feels altered, as if gears long rusted have begun to turn. Bus drivers wave at safety walk vests, students paint murals of open palms on boarded storefronts, and graffiti artists stencil their eyes open over crumbling billboards. Local radio swaps the weather report for poetry readings by youth who cite Isaiah as inspiration. Opposition shifts tactics from fear to fatigue, spreading rumors that momentum will fizzle by next weekend. Isaiah counters with a simple plan. 48-hour art build, culminating in a parade of giant papier-mâché lanterns shaped like hands, each finger bearing community demands. Permit applications flood city servers. The mayor fast-tracks approvals. Corporate sponsors who fled controversy 2 days earlier quietly donate LED supplies. A tech giant offers drones to film the parade in 8K for public domain. Skeptics claim rebranding. Optimists call it progress. Either way, lantern frames rise in gymnasiums and church basements, glowing skeletal in floodlights. Children weave ribbon tendons between finger joints. Grandparents teach them how to knot twine so it never slips. CTA, fuel the lantern's momentum, now belongs to everyone reading this. Smash like, so the algorithm pumps this chapter into corners still blinded by half-truths. Tap subscribe to be first, in line when Chapter 4 ignites. In the comments write "lanterns up" if you're ready to carry light through any blackout. Then share this video with 2 people who think change ends at a vote. Show them it begins again every dawn. The staircase of accountability climbs higher tonight. Rest up. Tomorrow we add another step. Saturday morning dawns with a hush too bright to ignore. Storefront windows flicker with handwritten signs announcing free art supplies, and every gym in the city smells of glue, paint, and possibility. The papier-mâché lantern frames built overnight now stand shoulder high, shaped like open hands with ribbon veins, bamboo knuckles and wrist cuffs laced in recycled twine. Each fingertip bears a single word chosen by the neighborhoods that crafted it. Justice, healing, memory, dignity, and voice. By noon, volunteers thread LED strands through paper skins until the lanterns pulse like gentle heartbeats. Isaiah Brooks walks from station to station, greeting crews by name, thanking children whose sneakers are speckled with neon splatters. He pauses beside the tallest lantern, an 11-foot palm reserved for the youth center, and carefully brushes a final layer of gold varnish over the letters "Empathy is Action." When someone asks how heavy the structure feels, he smiles and answers, "As light as the people carrying it." Meanwhile, Mayor Eleanor Grant sits at a folding table inside the same high school gym, signing waivers, answering questions, and refusing every offer of VIP seating. Her staff suggested a balcony vantage point. She insisted on marching. Word spreads fast, and soon citizens drift over simply to tell her what the oversight board already means. A grandfather who once feared reporting misconduct, a restaurateur, donating hot soup to safety walk patrols, a wheelchair athlete relieved that sidewalk checks are now part of police beat logs. The mayor listens without interrupting, storing stories like fuel cells for later storms. Across town, opposition groups plot countermoves. The lobbying firm behind Thursday's sabotage releases a sleek ad warning that radical oversight will drain tax dollars, inflate crime, and erase officer morale. The video runs on every major network by mid-afternoon, but viewers quickly splice rebuttals, side-by-side clips of safety walks escorting seniors, drone shots of children chalk-drawing hearts around patrol cars, charts showing crime reports, steady or dropping. The hashtag #receipts matter joins the digital chorus. 4:30 p.m., ushers in a gray sky, Yet hope refuses to dim. Volunteers roll lanolin over lantern seams to repel drizzle, while city sanitation teams clear parade routes with record speed, high-fiving residents as they pass. Local radio switches to commercial-free broadcast, looping a curated playlist of protest anthems and soulful brass. Between tracks, hosts remind listeners to hydrate, mask up, and text 3 friends the parade time. At 5:30, the first lantern, Justice, rises above Maple Street. A spontaneous gasp sweeps the crowd as the paper palm ignites an amber glow, its 5 letters strobing to the rhythm of a bass drum line donated by the University Marching Band. Moments later, healing lights up, then memory, then dignity, and finally, voice. Streetlights seem dull beside them. Apartment residents fling open windows, holding phones high to capture the living constellation of hands advancing like gentle giants. Isaiah leads the column, megaphone slung silent at his side. He doesn't need amplification. The crowd already hums a one-line chant, hands up, lights on. Each repetition grows softer, warmer, until onlookers whisper the words like a lullaby for wounded civic trust. Safety walk volunteers flank the parade edges, reflective vests blinking alongside lantern LEDs in a pattern accidental, yet mesmerizing. Media trucks line Oak Avenue, cameras craned overhead. Anchors speak in hushed awe, struggle to coin headlines, large enough for the sight. A city marching not in outrage but in radiance. The contrast sells itself. No smoke, no sirens, no riot shields. Just families pacing steady beneath weightless symbols of open-handed resolve. Mid-route, Isaiah stops at the police precinct's stone steps. Musicians lower their horns. Drummers still their sticks. The lantern carriers pivot, forming a semicircle facing the building's facade. For 20 heartbeats, the silence is total, as if even traffic lights are holding breath. Then the youth center choir steps forward, singing Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come," in harmonies that roll like velvet thunder down the block. Windows rattle with the resonance. Officers gathered inside the lobby stand shoulder to shoulder, some with hands clasped, some with eyes wet. When the final note fades, Isaiah raises the megaphone. He speaks only one sentence. Accountability is a doorway. Tonight we hold it wide open. The choir repeats the line in unison, transforming it into a pledge. Cheers swell and the parade resumes. Lanterns sway above heads, scattering reflections across squad car hoods, across rain-wet asphalt, across faces of onlookers who never thought streetlight glare could look like dawn. 30 minutes later, the column flows onto Riverfront Park, where a temporary stage glows beneath string lights borrowed from local wedding vendors. The police chief awaits there, flanked not by brass, but by the rookie officer who met Isaiah outside the council chamber. The chief steps forward, produces a sealed envelope, and reads a departmental directive. Effective immediately, all crowd control gear will remain locked away during peaceful demonstrations unless agreed upon by a newly formed joint command staffed equally by officers and civilian board liaisons. Gasps flutter like startled birds, quickly replaced by applause so loud nearby geese lift from the riverbanks. To seal the commitment, the chief signs the directive on stage, hands a copy to Mayor Grant and another to the teenage girl Isaiah shielded during his arrest. Cameras flash, no spin necessary. The moment speaks its own volume. Dusk slides into full night, yet the lanterns brighten in reply. Food trucks line the park's edge, serving bowls labeled Courage Chili, Solidarity Stew, and Oversight Onion Rings. QR codes for the Oversight Board's application page adorn every napkin. A pop-up voter registration booth collects signatures while a barbershop quartet croons protest-era spirituals. The scene feels equal parts civic fair, family reunion, and history lesson unfolding in real time. Around 9, the sky finally opens, rain sweeping in sheets. Instead of dispersing, the crowd dons clear ponchos and lifts lanterns higher. LED filaments cut through curtain water, turning droplets into floating prisms. Drone footage later shows Riverfront Park shimmering like a galaxy on Earth. The paper, hands appearing to clap lightning back into the clouds. Online commenters declare the scene electric baptism and the night the rain surrendered. At 10 a.m., Sunday, overnight view counts for parade streams surpass 8 million. Major outlets syndicate highlights, yet user-generated clips dominate timelines. A toddler dancing beneath memories glow. A wheelchair athlete spinning circles with dignity overhead. An elderly couple sharing an umbrella while whisper singing the choir refrain. Algorithms struggle to categorize the footage. Part protest, part festival, all unmistakably hopeful, so they push it everywhere. The lobbying firm's ad campaign collapses under ridicule. Remix artists overlay their fear-mongering voiceovers. With clips of the Lantern Parade, turning doom predictions into punchlines. Sponsors withdraw. The firm's stock price dips. Its board issues a bland statement about re-evaluating messaging strategies. Meanwhile, the Attorney General's lawsuit stall tactic shows cracks as legal scholars from 3 universities publish op-eds declaring the city's oversight board compliant with state statute and reinforced by popular mandate. Late Sunday afternoon, Isaiah records a poem standing before the now empty riverfront stage. He recites to the camera, voice soft as willow leaves. We walked with hands alight, lit the fault lines in our streets, saw the cracks, filled them with names, called them bridges once again. Power bent its ear, rain wrote applause on our shoulders, and we remembered. Revolution feels like family when everyone gets to sing. He ends with a simple ask. Donors for youth arts programs, mentors for city school debate teams, volunteers to repaint playgrounds in precincts once called neglected. The clip garners 1 million views by evening. Corporations pledge murals. Retirees volunteer reading hours. One hedge fund manager anonymously funds 2 new community centers. An avalanche of service begins rolling downhill. The mayor closes the weekend with a live stream from her kitchen, apron dusted in flour. She bakes bread while outlining first-week steps toward oversight implementation, selecting interim board chairs, publishing officer complaint statistics, scheduling quarterly town halls. Between kneading and proofing, she invites viewers to share family recipes for the citywide potluck planned for the Oversight Board's inaugural meeting. Hashtags pivot to $bread and balance. Momentum, once a fragile ember, now burns like a kiln. Yet embers can still scatter, and every blaze needs tending. In the comment section below, type "tend the fire" if you're ready to keep feeding this light. Smash like so the platforms keep spotlighting real-time reform, and subscribe to ride along as Chapter 5 uncovers the legal showdown, the shadow money trail, and the next leap from protest to policy. Share this video with someone convinced that joy has no place in justice. Show them lanterns shining through storm, and invite them to walk with hands up, lights on. Rest while you can. Tomorrow the courts come calling, and hope will need sturdy voices at the witness stand. Monday breaks over the city like a gavel, hard and decisive. Reporters cluster outside the state courthouse, camera lenses fogging in crisp dawn air. At 8:30, the Attorney General's lawsuit enters docket 27B, the courtroom packed past. Capacity. Rows of citizens wear stickers stamped "Tend the Fire," silent but vividly present. Isaiah finds a seat beside the rookie officer, 2 witnesses bound by one arrest that now stands at the heart of constitutional debate. Counsel for the state opens with thunder. The new Civilian Oversight Board, they insist, violates separation of powers doctrine and threatens irreparable harm to law enforcement authority. Their slideshow flashes worst-case hypotheticals, slashed budgets, demoralized ranks, surging crime graphs built on speculative data. Gasps ripple. Skeptics nod. The city's lead attorney counters with calm precision. She displays the charter. Clause empowering municipalities to regulate public safety, then lists 12 peer cities where oversight boards coexist with healthy policing metrics. She plays 30-second clips from last week's Lantern Parade. Streets peaceful, families present, officers chatting with protesters. Exhibit A, she says, living proof that accountability restores order rather than dismantling it. By mid-morning, the court hears Citizen Amici briefs. A retired judge explains due process safeguards baked into the board's bylaws. A trauma surgeon testifies that reduced confrontations free hospital beds. A small business coalition cites record weekend sales thanks to renewed public trust. Each statement paints oversight not as radical surgery, but as overdue physical therapy on civic muscle gone stiff. Across the aisle, the state's council unveils an email trove tying board advocates to extremist donors. Yet metadata experts on the city's team disassemble the claim in 10 minutes, tracing the real money trail back to the same lobbying firm that funded the fiber optic sabotage. A hush falls as the judge summons both legal teams to the bench. Off-mic murmurs stretch. Thin. Spectators lean forward, pulse quickening. When court reconvenes, the judge orders discovery into the lobbying group's financials, warns counsel against further obfuscation, and schedules an evidentiary hearing for Friday. The state's team scrambles. Their surprise gambit collapses into counter-scrutiny. News alerts ping across phones. Money trail backfires on oversight opponents. Outside, microphones swarm Isaiah, but he waves reporters toward the oversight board's interim chair, a librarian named Marisol Reyes. She explains next steps. Public. Nomination portals open tonight. Youth representatives guaranteed 2 seats, all meetings live-streamed. Her steady tone turns updates into invitations. Viewers at home bookmark URLs faster than anchors can read them. Meanwhile, investigative journalists peel back the lobbying firm's shell companies. Corporate records reveal a network of PACs funneling millions to anti-reform campaigns nationwide. A retired IRS analyst leaks spreadsheets mapping donations to regions with recent protest activity. Hashtag Cuprum follow The Wire ignites, trending above celebrity gossip by lunchtime. At City Hall, the mayor hosts an emergency press briefing. She announces the municipality will file a countersuit seeking damages for sabotage and lost public services during the blackout. In the same breath, she unveils a transparency dashboard where every city contract will appear searchable by vendor, dollar amount, and campaign donation history. Reporters blink in disbelief. Policy drafted, coded, and launched. Within 72 hours, one headline nails the moment. Mayor turns sunlight into software. Opposition attempts a media blitz warning of privacy nightmares, but cybersecurity scholars endorse the dashboard as best practice. Citizens log on in droves, uncovering decades-old no-bid contracts, lobbying connections, and forgotten MOUs. Message boards light up with screenshots, demands for renegotiation, and thank yous to whistleblowers who kept receipts. The phrase "data is civic power" appears on coffee mugs by Wednesday. Wednesday night, Isaiah hosts an open mic vigil on the courthouse steps. Instead of speeches, residents share personal audits. A mother reads purchase orders showing expired riot gas canisters. A college student breaks down mapping data that links pothole repairs to voter registration density. Poems become investigative exposés. Spreadsheets transform into spoken-word refrains. The livestream peaks at 2 million viewers, many staying past midnight to hear a jazz trio riff on CSV files. Thursday morning, the police chief releases a departmental directive encouraging officers to attend oversight board meetings on paid time. Union leadership calls it premature, yet rank-and-file response is overwhelmingly positive. Younger officers cite career pride in transparent service. Cable panels struggle to frame a narrative where reform and law enforcement collaborate. So segments grow quieter, almost reflective. The same afternoon, a freight company executive emails Isaiah offering 30 trucks for free if activists need mobile classrooms or art studios. He cites his son's lantern parade footage as inspiration. Isaiah forwards the offer to community center coordinators who draft blueprints overnight for a traveling civic literacy caravan, street law classes in the morning, poetry slams at dusk. Friday's evidentiary hearing lasts 6 tense hours. Forensic. Accountants trace lobbying cash straight to sabotage operatives. The state's counsel argues lack of direct knowledge, but emails show explicit authorization for infrastructure disruption as a messaging accelerator. The judge, stone-faced, refers the dossier to federal prosecutors and, on the spot, denies the injunction against the oversight board. Courtroom spectators erupt. The gavel rings futilely above applause. The ruling sparks nationwide coverage. Commentators call it a landmark moment for municipal autonomy. Civil rights groups hail it as precedent. And market analysts note a slight uptick in local bond ratings, a tangible dividend on transparent governance. The city's downtown LED billboards, normally reserved for ads, flash a single rotating line all night. The doorway stays open. Friday evening, Isaiah stands on the same plaza where lanterns first rose. He records a short video addressed to anyone who ever doubted incremental change. Behind him, safety walk volunteers drill new recruits under streetlights, reflexive care turned routine. He speaks plainly. Justice isn't a finish line, it's maintenance. Daily, collective, deliberate. He invites viewers to join neighborhood data teams, to audit budgets, to vote in board elections next month. The clip goes viral not for its production value, but for a passing detail. A police cruiser slows behind him, passenger window down. Officer, tossing bottled water to safety walk trainees. No choreographed symbolism, just mutual regard caught in pixel permanence. Comment sections overflow with heart emojis and careful optimism. By Sunday, cities across the country announce study sessions on oversight models. Non-profit toolkits circulate, citing the city's charter amendment. University syllabi update. Case law references. Isaiah receives invitations to testify before state legislatures, but he declines most, preferring to stay home and help sand rough edges off the evolving structure he helped spark. Yet national spotlight has long shadows. Fringe networks escalate smear campaigns, digging for past transgressions. They publish an old juvenile court citation, graffiti at 15. Isaiah responds by posting a photo of the painted wall, an early version of empathy is action. Rather than scandal, the story becomes origin myth. Teachers request the image for classroom posters. Muralists trace it on underpass pillars. Meanwhile, the city's transparency dashboard logs 3 million unique visits, enough to crash servers twice before a cloud provider steps in, pro bono. Data journalism collectives launch, high schoolers submit bug reports, and one retired COBOL programmer volunteers to refactor ancient municipal code discovered in the portal's archives. Open source contributions transform oversight into a civic makerspace. Late Sunday night, Isaiah walks the quiet streets, lantern parade still glowing in memory. He stops at the intersection where he was first arrested. Rain begins to fall, gentle, this time, tapping plastic crosswalk buttons like a metronome. He whispers thanks to pavement that remembered footprints longer than silence allowed. He uploads a final message before sleep. Next week we draft the bylaws for Truths Continued. Residency. Bring ideas, patience, and snacks. CTA. Keep the machinery moving. If the sight of courtroom doors swinging open gave you hope, press like so algorithmic corridors swing wider still. Smash subscribe for front row seats to Chapter 6, where the new board confronts its first disciplinary case, and the transparency portal uncovers deals nobody saw coming. Comment "Data is civic power" to pledge vigilance and share this video with someone tired of empty headlines. Show them blueprints turning into bricks. The staircase climbs, the landing lights are on. Rest your voice but keep your eyes wide, because tomorrow, maintenance begins again at dawn. Tuesday dawns on a city still humming with the rhythm of change. Garbage trucks rattle down alleys, buskers tune guitars under cafe awnings, and every lamppost sports a new QR code pointing to the transparency dashboard. Before most commuters finish their coffee, a headline blinks across phones. Oversight Board schedules emergency hearing on officer conduct. In less than 72 hours of legal birth, the board already faces its proving ground. At 9:30 a.m., the city's old municipal theater, repurposed as a public forum hall, fills to the balcony. Painted cherubs on the ceiling peer, down at laptops, cameras, and notepads. On stage, 7 provisional board members sit behind a semicircle of second-hand desks. Marisol Reyes, the librarian, Dr. Nadia Okafor, the trauma surgeon, Jamal Pierce, the small business owner, Kylie Tran, the computer science senior, Father Luis Mendoza, the pastor, Captain Annie Lau, the retired firefighter, and 12-year-old Mateo Vega, sworn in as the first youth representative after a midnight nomination blitz. Each nameplate bears a printed phrase beneath it, "We work for you," visible even from the cheap seats. The case is blunt and complicated, all at once. Body cam footage, Uploaded anonymously to the portal overnight. Shows Officer Raymond Hale pressing a teenager's face against a cruiser hood 2 weeks before Isaiah's arrest. The teen's only weapon is a half-eaten breakfast burrito. The shove follows a tense exchange about littering. No official complaint ever reached Internal Affairs. Officer Hale, subpoenaed by email at dawn, strides into the theater flanked by Union Counsel. He faces a room where every phone is a live feed, every cough archived in the cloud. Chair. Marisol opens the hearing with a reminder. The board can recommend discipline, but real authority to suspend lies with the chief, who promised to honor recommendations unless clearly unsupported by evidence. The hall quiets to near silence. The union lawyer argues the footage lacks context. The teenager allegedly cursed. Officer Hale feared sudden assault. Mateo, youth rep, voice shaking but firm, leans into his mic and asks a precise question. Sir, at what point did fear replace training? The lawyer objects to tone. The board overrules. Viewers in chat flood the stream with slow clap emojis. Kylie projects the video on a screen, then pauses at the shove. She overlays department policy. Level 1 verbal non-compliance. De-escalate. Physical force requires clear imminent threat. A breath holds in 3,000 lungs. Officer Hale fidgets. Optics betray confidence. After 90 minutes, testimony ends. The board recesses for deliberation in the orchestra pit. Curtain open so public eyes stay on them. They return in 20. Unanimous recommendation. 5-day suspension without pay. Mandatory de-escalation retraining. And a public apology to the teenager before the next patrol shift. Gasps, then thunderous applause. Some cry, not from vengeance but relief that a mechanism finally clicked where gears once ground air. Across town, in a plain office wedged between a pawnshop and a taqueria, 3 investigative volunteers parse new data dumps pouring into the dashboard. One CSV shows a pattern of emergency procurement contracts routed to a single LLC, Brightshield Solutions, totaling $8 million for crowd control gear over 3 fiscal years. Brightshield's listed address is a UPS drop box. It's officers, shell names. Nadia from the board receives the tip mid-shift at the hospital, scrolls quickly, and messages City Legal. Possible ghost vendor. Request audit. Within hours, the mayor's dashboard tags the contracts under investigation. A red badge beside Brightshield's name blinks like a warning siren visible to every taxpayer. Evening lands with the scent of jasmine and wet pavement. The rookie officer, now widely known as Ethan Clark, walks Isaiah through the precinct's new conflict resolution classroom, once a storage closet for riot helmets. Whiteboards bear fresh marker diagrams of empathy loops and crisis intervention. Steps. Ethan points out an empty display case where pepperball launchers used to hang. We store them off-site now, he explains. Isaiah snaps a photo. The image quickly circulates under Takrar's empty case. But calm always invites test. Near midnight, an anonymous account dumps partial payroll files online, alleging board member Jamal once underpaid undocumented kitchen workers at his restaurant. The leak is timed for maximum doubt, posted a minute after major newsrooms log off. Within half an hour, conspiratorial hashtags mushroom. Troll farms scent blood. Jamal learns of the leak at dawn, heart plummeting. He rings Marisol before coffee, demanding an emergency statement. They meet, review real payroll ledgers, and confirm the numbers differ. Someone doctored data. Kylie runs a hash check against the city's archives. Metadata mismatch, insertion. Traces back to a rented VPN cluster previously linked to the sabotage lobby. Screenshots and a concise explanation go live before noon. The rumor collapses. Hashtag Sartruan receipts matter surges again, swallowing lies in spreadsheets. Wednesday afternoon, Mayor Grant hosts a code sprint at the public library. Civic hackers, retirees, even middle school coders gather under murals of famous authors, laptops glowing. Their mission: build auto-verifiers that flag tampered documents the second they hit the dashboard. Pizza boxes stack, extension cords, snake across mosaic floors. At 2 a.m., a 68-year-old former COBOL engineer high-fives a 17-year-old Python whiz. They've linked blockchain stamps to every new upload. Tamper once, an alarm tweets citywide. Local radio dubs them the Firewall Choir. Thursday, the police chief follows through. Officer Hale suspended, apology filmed and posted. Commenters note sincerity rare in forced contrition. The teenager, Luis Ortega, shares a response video from his bedroom, Marvel posters in the background. He accepts the apology, but asks to join the conflict resolution class as a youth consultant. Views skyrocket. A philanthropist offers scholarships for Luis's dream of studying social work. Isaiah replies with a fist bump emoji. A new thread of restorative justice knits itself into public consciousness. Friday morning, the Attorney General withdraws from the sabotage-linked lawsuit, citing conflicts under review. Rumors swirl of resignations in executive ranks. Brightshield's phantom CEO surfaces, an intern paid $500 to sign papers. When press approach, he says he thought it was for a student startup. The scandal detonates. Legislators draft procurement transparency bills by lunchtime. In classrooms, kids role-play board hearings. In union halls, officers practice de-escalation scenarios with improv actors. Downtown cafes offer a trust blend latte, 2 shots espresso, 1 of honey, to charity dollars feeding the Safety Walk program. The city's heartbeat sinks to a steadier, more deliberate cadence. Sunday twilight, lanterns relight at Riverfront Park. Not a parade, just gentle vigil light. Mateo stands on stage, reads the first youth-authored policy proposal. Mandatory officer-student dialogue circles in every high school. Applause waves across water like ripples of gold. Isaiah follows with a short poem ending. Doors open both ways. Enter with your whole voice. Mayor Grant signs the proposal on stage. The choir hums, "We shall overcome," but softly, promise, rather than triumph. CTA, keep accountability active. If watching a 12-year-old draft policy tightened, your chest with proud disbelief, hit like right now so platforms keep elevating stories of practical hope. Tap subscribe so Chapter 7 finds you first. We'll expose where Brightshield's money was headed, track the Firewall Choir's open-source tools spreading to other cities, and witness the first graduation of officers from empathy training. Then scroll to the comments and write "Doors open both ways" to pledge that you'll walk through, whether into data audits, school circles, or whatever repair your neighborhood needs most. Share this episode with one skeptic who thinks oversight is just red tape. Show them gears finally turning, powered by citizens who refuse rust. Maintenance restarts at sunrise. Bring coffee, curiosity, and courage. The staircase still climbs. Monday's sunrise glides over a city now fluent in accountability. Construction cranes lift new community center beams as confidently as cranes once swung steel for stadiums. Digital billboards alternate transit updates with real-time oversight. Metrics, response time graphs, public complaint dashboards, officer training progress bars. Numbers refreshed faster than traffic lights can blink. Commuters check civic stats the way they once checked weather, measuring the forecast of trust before stepping outside. Isaiah Brooks wakes early, laces shoes still damp with river mist, and jogs the lantern parade route. Small kids on scooters shadow him, shouting updates about the conflict resolution class. One proudly announces he can now name 5 calm-down breaths in under 10 seconds. Isaiah high-fives them all, heart swelling at how casually children adopt new civic muscle. At 10 a.m., the first cohort of empathy-trained officers graduates in the municipal theater. No brass bands, just a firm handshake from Mayor Grant and a simple pin, 2 open palms forming a bridge. Officer Ethan Clark receives his and scans the balcony for Isaiah, spotting him between Mateo and Luis. Their nod exchanges more than applause ever could. Outside, Marisol Reyes unveils the OpenBook mobile app, an offspring of the transparency dashboard, now pocket-sized. Users can scan any city contract number or badge ID and see oversight status, budget line, and community feedback. The Firewall Choir's code has gone statewide. 32 municipalities clone the repo within hours. App stores feature it under civic engagement. Influencers post tutorials, turning swipes and taps into everyday acts of oversight. Yet beneath the celebratory hum, the Brightshield investigation approaches climax. Data forensics teams trace final payment routes to an offshore trust linked to a federal lobbying consortium. Late Tuesday, prosecutors unseal indictments, conspiracy to defraud taxpayers, interstate sabotage, obstruction of municipal governance. Cable news flashes perp-walk footage of suited executives shielding faces behind briefcases. Commentators struggle to keep pace with meme artists already branding the scandal crowd control gate. Wednesday afternoon, the Oversight Board convenes, an open forum to preview its first annual budget request. Less than half the overtime once spent on riot gear, reallocated to youth mentorship stipends, trauma care vouchers, and the city's newly chartered Restorative Justice Institute. Skeptical. Taxpayers show up armed with spreadsheets. Leaving, they carry program flyers and the Institute's email for volunteer applications. Thursday, a delegation from the neighboring state capital arrives unannounced. 2 mayors, 3 police chiefs, and a senator carrying a thick binder. They spend 8 hours shadowing safety walks, auditing contract dashboards, and interviewing cafe owners about commerce since the reforms. Before boarding the late train home, the senator tells press, "We came to study a rumor. We leave with a Satori blueprint." That same night, Isaiah hosts an open mic on the courthouse lawn titled Blueprint Verses. Poets, coders, cafeteria workers, and cadets share 3-minute snapshots of civic reinvention. A retired electrician recites wattage calculations for lantern LEDs saved by switching to solar. The crowd snaps fingers in eco applause. Mateo reads new policy language on school dialogue circles. Luis follows with a bilingual rap about apology as repair. Phones everywhere stream the lineup. Patreon pledges surge for youth arts. Friday noon marks the first citywide siren-free lunch hour in decades. Crime numbers hold steady, dispatch call duration drops. Journalists ask the police chief why. He points at a chalkboard scribble in the precinct lobby. Connection is prevention. Hashtag siren-free flies across platforms like confetti. While optimism peaks, an anonymous social account leaks minutes from a private security industry call predicting muted revenues if empathy model becomes national norm. The memo warns investors that de-escalation curricula undercut defensive gear demand. Instead of rattling confidence, the leak fuels public resolve. School civics classes analyze the memo sentence by sentence, mapping profit motives against community well-being. Students annotate slides. Whose safety? Follow the incentives. Teachers tweet the lesson plan. Educators from 12 countries request copies. Saturday dawns bright with festival buzz. Riverfront Park hosts the inaugural Hand and Light Expo, merging tech demos, street food, and policy hackathons. Drones film from above, capturing crowds weaving among booths like living circuitry. One tent prints QR-etched coasters linking to city budget explainers. Another offers VR walkthroughs of board hearings for accessibility advocates. In the children's zone, toddlers build cardboard precincts where teddy bear officers practice empathy drills. At dusk, the lanterns ignite once more, this time carried by pairs, an officer and a resident sharing the weight of a glowing palm. No chance, only murmured conversation between partners who might have passed wordlessly a year earlier. When the procession reaches City Hall, Isaiah steps forward with the teenage Luis at his side and addresses the gathering. He reminds everyone that the open door they fought for can still swing shut if collective vigilance fades. He calls for maintenance as ritual and outlines a monthly day of checking when citizens audit a random slice of data, attend one meeting, or mentor a youth. Mayor Grant announces the first day of checking will coincide with the oversight board's permanent election. She invites every eligible voter to turn scrutiny into celebration. The evening closes with Mateo leading a countdown to power up the city's newly installed Civic Trust Beacon, a slim spire atop City Hall that pulses green when oversight metrics meet public goals, amber when they lag, red when data goes dark. The crowd chants 10-1. The spire glows emerald and cheers quake the plaza's stone. Isaiah ends the night recording one final message under that green glow. Truth didn't win a trophy tonight. It won a maintenance schedule. Keep tightening the bolts. Keep sanding the rust. Keep choosing light even when the batteries run low. Because this door, it opens both ways every single dawn.